This conference will now be recorded.
I know everyone here is a working professional, and what I am trying to do is I am trying to go little deep into every concept, and I am trying to do some give some background this thing to each topic. Right? The reason is because most of this stuff we discuss, you don't find in most of the stuff what I'm saying. You don't find outside, in many websites or YouTube channels. I don't say, but very few has all that. But we have to, the problem is getting right content. That is the issue. That's why for Scala, the resources are very few actually, because at least 4 or 5 people here are big data people, including some of our team members here. Okay, myself, Vijay, or no, Madhu. Anybody else from big data here? Apart from Vijay, Madhu, and at least ETL backgrounds. Now, let's continue. Yeah, Veera is from ETL. Most of you know the importance of data, right? And how it is processed. So let me today switch to the another topic, what we call having that. I told you we'll do some workaround, right? Today, before switching to this, we are talking about singleton. Okay, like we are talking about this yesterday. Let me see if we start recording. And I was asking you to do this problem. What is that maximum? Max of numbers. And we came to know that what is singleton object. That is one thing. And also, when we declare singleton variables and singleton methods, if you just need only one copy for the entire application, then we have to declare such variables, such methods as singleton variables or singleton methods. Means we declare them inside that object construct to be more clear. Okay. That's how we compensate that static concept in Java. If you don't know static concept, you can leave it. Just ignore it. That's all. Now, let me just show you a simple singleton program to find maximum of two numbers. Okay, we have some max. We just take a couple of so a colon int comma b colon. Actually we are doing this use case yesterday, but almost our time is up, so we couldn't finish it yesterday. So I am continuing that here, quickly showing you how to do it. Then you can simply say k plus b over. That's simple. This we don't need to apply any return keyword here in Scala. You must have know that. Then you need to make a change here. Change this data types to float. Here also change them to float. And change this data types to double. And even these data types to here. And then you get errors here because return type should change. We cannot return, float plus float is what? It is a float, right? Or it might become double sometimes. Then the point is you are returning int. It is downcasting. Downcasting is not supported implicitly in Scala or Java. If it is upcasting, it's fine. You can promote it to float, no issues. But we cannot promote float to int. It's not possible. There is a possible loss of data here. So you should change the return type for this float. And here also you should change the return type to double. Then all is well, no issues. Now finally, these are like these kind of methods, utility methods. Utility means something more common for every application. Okay, somebody is saying correct. So I was correct. You are correct. I am doing addition. I have to find a greater than b, then say a Okay, else what? B. So that's all. Got it? So no, I was it's like, unconsciously I was thinking about some. Consciously I told you to do max here. So that's the mistake. But thank you for reminding. Okay. So anyhow, if it is sum or max, we are trying to understand how this global functions works, or this singleton methods, how they are useful. But anyhow, no. Now I corrected it. Thank you, Suresh. So if you look at this is max of two numbers, and if you can see here, if it is greater than B, written A, else written B, like that. Similarly, same thing is applicable. Right? Scala style. In Scala, you don't need to apply return. Just a pass variable there. It is automatically returned. That's the point. Okay, fine. Now let me conclude. These are all utility methods. Like some generic. These are all some common logics. And this kind of methods, we don't need to declare inside a class as instance methods. You can make them as global methods so that they are accessible throughout application. It's okay. And there is a difference here when you make it, this singleton methods or instance methods, there is difference. Instance methods will work only when object exists, but global methods exist, or singleton methods exist without object. So if you don't see, whenever you avoid creating objects, means that is also a kind of optimization. Got it, right? That is also a kind of optimization. Without object, if you try to do this, if you carry out this kind of business logics or utility logics, then you are reducing so much of burden on the application, because object consumes more memory, it utilizes more resources, all that stuff is there. But I don't mean that we run the entire project without any objects. Objects are necessary. There are in many situations. But wherever it is not necessary, you can at least make sure you can go with this kind of process, like taking a singleton method, singleton variables. The point is, when something is common and where you don't need any dependency of object, such methods, such variables, you can make them as singleton. Got this point, right? And I told you the advantage. The advantage of object is a costly job. Means costly in sense, not in terms of revenues. I'm not speaking about revenues here. Give me a minute. Let me put power. So I'm talking about system resources. What I'm talking here is I'm talking about the system resources. Got it? So that's the conclusion here. And now you can directly call all these methods something like some println offer max of 10, 20. This will call max with integers. Then second one 10f, 20f. This is actually, what is it? It becomes float. 10.0, 20.0. Of course, you can put 20.0 because float is just decimal. Let's go a little. Let us have a proper programming practice. Okay. So I'll put float as float only with the suffix f. If you put f, definitely it is float. If you don't put f, it is double. I told you this. Now, this is how you can test these singleton methods. Now, right click, run as Scala application. You got it, right? In all the cases, you got the bigger number. Can you see it now? Maybe if you don't want same, something different, you can give it like this. Okay, some 13, 14, and giving like this. Then I should get 20, 12, and 14. That's my output. Got it, right? So this is how we can, have an use case to demonstrate singleton methods. And the discussion is very clear. Now, usually the utility methods, technically in Java, in C#, in Scala or Python, utility methods which has some common logic, usually mathematical logics, usually most of the time. Such methods we make them as a static. I mean, this we make them as a object singleton methods. It is equivalent to static members in Java and C Sharp, even in C++. Got it, right? That's it. So I have clearly told you, for these methods, you don't need to create object. That is one thing. Okay, what are the advantages? When methods are singleton methods, okay, if methods are singleton, advantages. What are the advantages? What kind of method should be declared as singleton? Tell guys, can you anybody tell me? Singleton advantages. What are the advantages? Or I'll just make a note it. Okay. Point one. What is that? See, we declare usually to implement utility logics. We go for singleton methods. So point one, we implement utility logics. Means something more of mathematical or something which is common for the entire application. Something which that some methods which don't depend on data of objects. Okay, such methods we make them as singleton methods. Okay, we implement utility logics using singleton methods. Means singleton methods in sense what we declare inside that object construct. That is, I am assuming them as singleton methods. That is one thing. And for them, at most one copy exists. You don't have multiple copies. The variable or method, whatever it is. Second thing, we can directly access them. How? Access them using object name. That is that singleton object name without creating any object. Without creating any object. Third point. Okay, third one. These are not part of object. Okay, object in sense not a singleton object. Which is not part of this class objects. Okay. So anyhow, I don't want to add that. It's a bit confusing statement because when singleton object and when I say object means I mean it is something which belongs to a class like this. So here you say class A, you create an object for this, right? A space no var space A equal to new A or val space A equal to new A. I'm talking about that object. These methods are not part of this objects. Okay, the class objects, but they are part of singleton objects. Okay, so that's what I mean here. So that is one more thing. And these are common for the entire application. These methods are common for entire application. That is one more important point. And you don't need to make changes again and again. So these are few important observations for singleton methods. Now I would like to quickly talk about singleton variables. What do you mean by that? And the question is, are you good now? Is this clear for you about singleton object? What is singleton object? Where you have at most yeah, obviously, definitely, Harish, that is a valid point. Because if it is a method, methods are 100% reusable within the class, in other within the object, singleton object in other classes. Okay, and also in other package. Yes, we can do all that, no doubt about it. So, fine. Reusability is one of the core thing of functions, that the core functionality of a function. Okay, now I'll talk about singleton variables, how this behave. Let us have a quick idea. Then I'll switch to the companion object, because you need to have a detailed and deeper understanding of things. I can just quickly finish it within 10 to 20 minutes. Singleton means where just we have only one copy, and it is shared by all objects. Okay, and this is not in the object scope. I can just add few points and just quickly close it. But that is not going to help in any way without having a proper workaround or proper understanding. What are singleton variables? Right? Variables are declared inside singleton objects. I'm just after doing so many programs, when we say singleton object, it's easy for anyone to correlate it. So, okay, variables declared inside a singleton object. It's what? Singleton variables. That is one thing, okay? Second thing, let me make it more clear. Okay, singleton variable. Number 2. Other point. Only one copy of singleton, only one copy of memory is allocated for singleton variables, and it is shared by all other objects. How many copies, sir? One copy of memory is allocated for singleton. Even static variables are also same objects and shared by all other objects. All other objects are throughout the application. And usually we declare singleton variables if you need just one copy for the entire application. One copy of variable. You don't need multiple copies of variables. You got it, right? A quick example for all of you. When should we go for having this singleton variables or this thing? Because already we spoke about singleton methods in length. Let's have a quick idea about this. Suppose you are doing a project. Assume that you are doing a project for anything. You can take a company or a college or anything. So suppose you are just developing a project for specific college. It might have all these attributes. What are those attributes? It might have that object has college name, okay, and then departments, okay, and then there are a few more attributes, and then departments, college code, okay, and then you can add few more location, okay. If you look at these attributes, I'm talking only about one college. Don't talk. I'm not talking about all colleges exist in a particular country or a state or a district. Just I'm developing a project for one college, just a specific college. In that case, this name is same for everyone, isn't it or not? Name is only one copy. Department number changes because you might have EC, EEE, mechanical, civil, CSC, computers, all that. So this changes. So when this data changes, then you don't need to make it as a singleton variables. But I can make this college name singleton because throughout the project, I just need only one college name. The college name doesn't change. And code, college code. When I talk about that particular college, that code, okay, this doesn't change because once a code is assigned to a college, it will be stable throughout that the academics, everything throughout the lifetime of that college, the college code will be same. Okay, that is so. This is also one copy. Location. Obviously, when you construct a college in some location, that doesn't change from season to season. It will be same throughout the that lifetime of college. So that is also one copy. Suppose my college name is MIT, Manohar Institute of Technology. Department numbers might be so many, ECE, EEE, mechanical, blah blah blah. Code is just I'll take it as a 007. Okay. Location, you might take it as some assume that this is only a college which is there here, just an idea, that's all. Now by looking at this, we should understand a couple of things. This college name can be one copy here. I don't need multiple copies for college name. For this, one copy is enough. And for this also, one copy is enough. And for this also, one declaration is enough. Means I just need only one copy because I have just one value for the entire application. And here also, I just have one value for the entire application. And here also I have one value for the entire application. But for department, it changes from department to department. So when I write a college program, if my class is college, suppose I'm just giving you how to design your application. If my class is college, suppose see here, my college, then I declare DEPT as instance variable. This is instance, but I don't declare college name and code and location as instance. In fact, I make them as singleton variables. Why singleton? Because they are common for the entire college. Okay, for any department, any student, they don't change. These variables are singleton, and this is even singleton. Okay, and this is even singleton. Now, so first thing is this: you need to understand what is that, when to declare variable as singleton variables and when to declare them as instance variables. If it is instance, if I create 10 objects for college for 10 different details, then I have, this department will have what is that, different values. That's why I made this as a instance. Point is here, if your data changes from object to object, if data changes from object to object, then declare such variables as instance variables. Data means values. Variable name might be same, but value might change from object to object. Got it right? That such variables declare it as a instance. Suppose if your value is same throughout the application, it doesn't change from object to object, and it doesn't change from one thing to other thing. Then if it is stable throughout the application and you have just one value for that, such values, such variables, declare them as singleton. Got it right? You should have this clarity when you are dealing with the singleton method, singleton variables, and instance members and instance methods, instance variables and instance methods. Got it right? So see, concept and syntax, everybody know that. What is missing in most of the cases is the difference. Okay, and when should we apply it? That is what missing in most of the cases. That is where you need to master yourself. When you have that clarity, when that fundamental strength is there, whatever language it might be, go and check into Java. Trust me, after learning all these things, look into a Java book so far for whatever the topics we have covered. You hardly need, you don't need too much of time to learn Java. Trust me, or C#. If you don't believe it, give a try at your home. Now, so you got it right. That's the idea about it. Only one copy of memory is created and it is shared by all objects. I mean objects in sense, not singleton, about class objects. Okay. Next one. When should we declare? When data is common for the entire application. Okay, for the entire application. Such, what is that? Such variables should be declared as what? Should be declared as singleton variables. Okay, and another important thing, these are not part of object. These are part of the singleton objects. So we don't need to create any object for singleton objects. When variable is part of singleton objects, we can call them directly using class. That object name. We call singleton what? Singleton variables using what? Using singleton object. I'm trying to be more clear. That's all. Object name. Like for example, test.a. Like test.1. Like this. If it is method, we should call like this. If it is variable, we should call like this. You know, right? Because method should have a parenthesis. If it is having parameters, still we can pass those parameters. No issues. But in this program, if you look at this, okay, I call them directly. You know why? Within that singleton object, we can call the methods of that directly using that method name. Suppose if I should call this method somewhere in other class, suppose I want to call that method m1 or max, sorry, this max in class E in some other entity, not this in object test entity. Within this, no issues. You can call them directly, no need of any object name. But outside this singleton objects, if you want to call this singleton methods, singleton variables, what should we do? We have to use test dot some max. You can call it like this. We can pass some data. You know why? We have a constructor here. We don't need to worry about it. So if you think that, what is that? If you are missing anything, we have a constructor. You might ask me a question. You didn't declare this in any method. No issues. We're calling it directly in a constructor. Just to show you. If it is out of scope of that, what is that? The singleton object, then we have to call it with this name. Suppose I declare a variable here now. Let's see this. Now, as we are in the topic talking about this topic, what happened? 1 minute, guys. Okay. Here, I'm declaring a variable where some. You can declare such variables as val itself, because as it is one copy, making it as a constant is also a good practice. Suppose I say something like val sum a equal to something. So this is singleton variable, and all these properties are applicable for singleton variables. And suppose if it is within the object, I can call it directly using that name of the variable, something like this. If it is inside that, suppose if it is here outside that singleton object, then I have to call it with the name of the singleton object. Can you see? Test is the name. As it is variable, okay, you can pass it to a print statement. Println of test. You know, right? If I am directly declaring, these statements goes into the constructor, default constructor of this class A. But if I should execute them, what should I do? I should create an object for this class. Otherwise, constructors are not called. Okay. So what should we do right now? First, create an object. So go to the main, calling or before calling. It's up to you. Okay. Create an object where space usually I want to make it as val, because val is most recommended one. Where and when it is necessary, then make it as val. If you are not making change to the objects, then val is almost a good habit in Scala. And then I don't need to do anything, as my statements here are declared in the class, in the constructor. So we don't need to call them explicitly. Constructor is automatically called. Now run the code. Now you can see it is printing 10, and I'm getting what I'm getting here. I said 10.a. I'm getting some reference. 1 minute. Okay, this is the reason we are printing a here. There is an ambiguity. What is the issue here? Can anybody fix it? Why I am getting the, instead of getting 10, what I am getting is I am getting address. Why? Because it is trying to print this reference hold address. All of you know that. So let me make it as a X here, just for testing purpose. Now you can print a, that object can be like that. If it is within the object, you know that. we can call it directly. If it is outside a singleton object, the members of singleton object should be called using that singleton object. Run it now. This time you don't see anything. Now you got all is well here. So you got, what is it here now? You are passing 10 and 20 here. 10, 20, 20 is the bigger one, right? So that is one thing. When I call constructor, should take 10, 20. It should return 20. What's happening here? There is small. It is getting 10, 10 and then it's giving me 20. No, something is missing here. T 14, that's perfect. Okay. Probably this max should return for us. Yes, correct. No, my foolishness. Why, it's giving perfect answer. Code is correct. 10, 10 are variables. The values from variables are getting printed. I forget one thing. I am assuming that we should get 20 when this method is called. That's perfect. But we are not doing prints in the methods. We are just returning. When a method return a value, what we should do? We should initialize to some variable and then print it, or either we can directly pass them to a print method. That's what we should do. But I didn't pass this to print, or I didn't initialize the returned value to any local variable here, or any variable in a class. That's why I know I'm not that 20 is not getting printed. Now you get 20 here. I'm looking for this. Understood now? So that's it, guys. So this is all about singleton variables, singleton methods, and all other cock and bull stories about this singleton objects. I'm just kidding, sir. Don't take my word seriously. Okay, all of you are good now. So we'll stop this. We'll once you test this code, please test this, and then we'll switch to the next topic. Okay. Test this program, and I will switch to the next one. Is it clear to everyone? This singleton object is clear, or I hope no. We have a very detailed discussion. At least you should. Yeah. How about others? Huh? Harish, Madhu, Veera. Guys, is it clear now? Then I'll introduce a companion object now. See, programming will be like this. If you start digging, that keep coming for us, there is no end for discussion for any topic. Still within that class and object, that object discussion, still we can do it for next 5 classes. The interaction between one object to another object. Okay. And even those things, they are very beautiful topics actually. We can do object collaboration. How two objects, we can share data between two objects. How to extract data from two objects and pass it to another object. So these are all, something still we didn't do. Means when you keep doing, there is no end for anything. See, and good program practices, whatever I am seeing in our code, based on that only I'm giving you the inputs. Tomorrow, when you are going for a big data, it's not like you'll write code only in Spark related stuff. Sometimes you have to write standalone Scala code also, Scala classes as a part of your big data, this thing, stabilization. Okay, there are many other things you need to implement with Scala in your big data projects. So it's not like you use Scala only in Spark related jobs. Got it right? So just keep that in mind. Once you test it, guys, please confirm. Test.a confirm చేయండి. Even companion object is dependent on, again, on all the fundamentals, the basic what we have discussed here with singleton objects. Got it? Please test it. Finish testing, sir, all of you. Does anybody confirm whether you are okay, you are done, and it's fine? Okay, Madhu, then Bharat, let me. Yes, good to hear from all of you. So let me introduce this companion today, as we have less time. By now, I think I don't need to talk about these things. This should be very clear for all of you. So I'm going to the next topic. Okay. Now you understand why I took so much of time in singleton objects. Because if you want to understand companion object, you should be very clear with this singleton object. Okay. What is a companion? Companion means if you look at this code, just look at the code, don't try to understand anything. You can see usually so far in all the programs, whatever we have done, we used to have one class and we used to have one singleton object. Correct? But if you look at the code till today, if you look at any program, our class name will be different and our singleton object will be different. Object name will be different. Okay. That is how actually we do the code. There is nothing wrong in that. Okay. But when you talk about companion object, the case is different. If you by looking at itself, everybody in the class understands because you are doing a lot of practice here. And here, the class name and your singleton object name both are same. And it is very easy to talk about what is companion object. That is, that is a very dumb thing. Correct or not? See, by looking at itself, even you can understand here, right? Might be there is a small mistake here. The class name and singleton object name, if both are same, what do we call them? They are companion. We can test it and we can run it and then we can close it. That's all over. That's companion topic. But the point is, when should we apply this companion? That is important. You got it done. Yes, sir. So testing this, understanding this, at syntax level is it's just a simple dumb thing if you ask me. For us, working people. But if it is a beginner, okay, it's a different story. Okay, even for a beginner, looking at this, they can easily understand with the discussion what we had so far. That's fine. Now, if you look at it, this statement talks about that one. What is companion object means? When you have a class with same name as singleton object, and it is called companion class, and singleton object is called companion object. That's all. When both have same name, this is companion class. This is a companion. What is it? Companion object. You get this point over. And here, one more important thing. What it is saying, companion class and its companion object both must be defined in the same source file. Another important rule. When by looking at the statement, then there is a point like you might think something means if companion object, when you talk about this companion concept, it is saying companion class, companion object both must be within the same source file. Means if it is not companion, then the class might be in other file, and this singleton object can be in some other file. Is that possible? You didn't have asked me this question, but I am raising this question. Okay, so definitely that is true. Here, let me just quickly show you. Remove this class A here. I'm just taking a simple quick code to show you the concept. Okay. This is just object. Leave it like this. Now go to the package, right click, new, take another class only. Okay. This is a class file, not object. If you look at it, I'll show you one more time. This time, you see here, right click, new. I'm choosing class. Got it right? I'm choosing class here. If you look at it, right? So new class. Just give it as what? Some dates, no issues. Now this is my class. I'm just adding a simple method in this def. Okay, some unit. One interview, I think it's this guy, JP Morgan. That interview asked me about this unit, why we should have unit. Still remember, like 1 year back, I hope almost. He's asking me about this in a big data interview. Okay, just I remember that when I'm showing you this. So I'm just saying, like hello. Means people will be like that. They might ask you very basic things sometimes because they don't know what to ask. Something is missing, guys. What is the mistake I am doing here? What is my mistake? Okay. A dot. I think I completely came to a different project. Okay. This is my Scala one, right? That's why it's giving a scribe.
You need to have an object.
1 minute, 1 minute. So no. I totally choose a different project. Okay. Give me 1 minute. We'll fix it. So give A here. See, this is different project. Scala project 1 and test is different project. Actually, I have I have added that file in this test. I didn't see that, so it's my bad. So now I have put it in a right thing. So that's actually a Java project. That is not a Scala project. This is Scala project. Okay? That is also one more reason. You got it right? Like this and then just like println, just showing you like we can split that class and singleton object into two different files. That is what I would like to see. Now try here. Uh, okay, but as it is, no, should not take like this. Just taking as Java file. Okay, where is it?
I think you need to remove that public.
1 minute. Let me just first close this thing, sir. Yeah. New class. Yes. This is a Scala one only. Then give some name for this. Something like A. Delete the file, existing file. Take it, right click, new class. Now it's fine. Yeah, you are correct. Because we don't have a public keyword in which one? In Scala, that is one thing. By default, it's public, and it should not have a.scala. That is also a problem here. Why it's not giving me that? So I'm not able to see here that object. All that here means can you see here? I should take Scala class. Do you understand now? What is missing for us? So far, I'm taking class. When I say class, it is by default always taking Java class. So that is the reason we should go for Scala wizard, not for this one. Default, it is taking that. Even I am wondering. So now, if you see, it didn't take any public because that's the behavior of Scala. Because public keyword is not there in Scala at all. Remove this file actually. This is otherwise you might get confused. Finally, we are on right track. So point is that we should choose Scala class. df_m1. This will work this time, colon. Just to show you this point, like, we can have a class in different file. We can have singleton object in different file. Okay. And it's not like always they has to be in the same file. Only companion class and companion object has to be in the same file. You can just add something. Println of hi or hello something. Hello buddy. Right? So that's it, guys. So all is well now. Go to the test dot. This is our object. Now here I can just directly call some val, val a equal to new a. You can see here this a class a is not there in this source file, but I am able to create directly object for that class in this singleton object in this file test.a, test.scala. Means what? In a project, in a package, if you have different files, the classes of one file, we can access them directly in other files. It's not like if you declare a class in one file and we should access that only in the singleton object of that file. They might be used in some other files as well. That is also possible. Anywhere in this package or anywhere in some other package also, not in this package, even in some other package also, they can access them, provided they are public. Got it right? So run this. What should I do now? I should say a dot that method name. You can see here. Now you can call it. You get something like hello buddy here. Can you see this now? That's it. So that is what the quick idea here. No, I just switch jump to this discussion because to show you that if it is a normal class and singleton objects which are not companion to each other, then we can split them into different files. But as per this is a rule. There has to be the same file. That's what they are saying. Companions means what? Both, like partner, like wife and husband. Best example. Okay, classes, all this might be like friends. You might be in different house and your friend might be in different house, but anybody has access to anybody at any time if you are public friends. Okay, private friends means different story. That is I don't want to talk about it here. Okay, and protected friends also different story. Got it right? You can apply that also. But here companionship means it's like wife and husband. Usually they stay in the same house. I'm only talking about the current this thing scenario, not anything else. Right? So suppose I take a class test here, then I put something. Let us have something. Okay, df m1 just to test, nothing else. Okay, so and you can just say something like println of okay abcdf. That's all. So what is this now? This is concept of companionship. What is it? The class is companion class and the object is companion object, and both are, this is the concept of companion objects. Why we use that word companion now? Because the names are same for both. Such members are called what? Companion members. Now, as usual, val space. You can see now I am slowly started using val because that is a standard practice in real time. When you go and look into any kind of big data project implemented in Scala, you find this there. Okay, val space sum x equal to new test. You can say x dot. Okay, and you can run it. You can see ABCDF. Now, as per that rule, I am going to split it into another file. What I'm doing now? I want to have this in some other file. Let us try that. Okay. So now I try to put this here. No issues. We can have like that. Don't think that it's not possible. Now you can see we can have multiple classes in this file. Even though you might save it as a dot Scala, still this file might have some other classes. Okay, you can have multiple classes in one file. It's not like there is nothing wrong in that. Okay, now I have a class here. This is also a public class, you know that, because the scope is public for this, the method is public, everything is public. Okay, you can remove this. Maybe you might think, okay, I can, right? If a class is in other file, it doesn't mean that we can't create object here, isn't it? If it is another file, so what? Still we can create object for that. We have tested it just few minutes back, isn't it? But if it is companion, I'm seeing some issue here. Let us just put a cursor here, and it's saying something. It's clearly saying companions. It's saying array R. You are splitting these two guys. It's a pop-up. Okay, means what? It's a sin. It's saying companion class test companions. It's clearly saying class test and object test must be defined in same file. Your Scala compiler, the very big man. Okay, it's like a parent for us in our real time. If a husband and wife are staying in different houses, then what happens? Who will step in there? Obviously the parent. Okay, so it is saying array R, those two must be in the same file. You split them. That is the rule. Then what should I do now? There is nothing. I just say Control Z here and bring back that companion to this file itself, and you remove this here. Because once you define a class in any file, again you cannot declare that class anywhere in that package. Not possible. Keep this point in mind. Okay, that becomes redeclaration. If you declare in the same file or some other file, once you declare one class, again you cannot declare in that class in anywhere in other file of same package. Got it right? So now the story is fine now. It's peaceful now. You got the point here. This is idea about companions. Okay, till this it's fine. But the workaround you have to do here, or the point you need to understand is, this is so easy to understand. Then point is, why do we need companion objects? Got it? Understand? You need to understand the purpose, the syntax anyhow. We can get it anywhere. Our focus is more on understanding why and how and when. That is what we do here. Okay. So that we see in tomorrow's session. It's a beautiful, interesting thing. And again, the background, already we have a detailed background for companion things. The singleton discussion we have done, that itself is a background. I have given the detailed analysis and the scope of singleton variables and methods, everything. And if you have clearly understood the reasoning which we discuss tomorrow for companion object, will be same. It doesn't take much time, because we are trying to understand why should we use companion object. That we will discuss for just for 10 to 15 minutes tomorrow and close that, and we will switch to the other topic. Very important topic. Without this questions on case class, most of the interviews doesn't close. Got it? Tomorrow we talk about it. Got it, guys? So good night, guys. I have another session at 11 again today. So we'll stop here.